Hello and welcome to what is a very shortened down version of a travel guide of how to get to El Nido, Palawan. Now we are moving from the Puerto Prinsesa to El Nido, and it's 230 kilometers. And yes, that does say on your screen it takes 5 to 6 hours by van or 8 to 9 hours by a coach. It is a long trip, but it does get split up obviously at the halfway mark, and you do have a nice rest stop. That is covered in this video, as is how we get from where we get dropped off to the hotel as well, all in under half an hour. So you've got quite a lot to come, and you've got a little bit more of information popping up on your screen in a second, as well as this. So this is obviously gorgeous, but you can see the best way to go there is by van. You have got other types of transportation as well, but really the best bit is a van, just because it is the quickest. If you want to go by coach, obviously you can do, it's just a long big bus and it's all air conditioned, but this is nice and simple. Now you can do it as it's shared, or you can do it as a private hire. Now that price information will come up on the screen in a second, but like I said, what we are looking at now is basically the whole trip for the first 5 to 6 hours. It is incredible. So it is £9 per person if you share a van. It is £94 if you hire the whole van, and that is up to 11 people, or it is £10 for the bus. And you can see it's the first one. For example, if I was to book one right now, it leaves at 7 and it will arrive at 12, and it takes 5.5 hours. So depending on which one you book, it will actually tell you the time of how long it's going to take. And now I'm just scrolling through all the different bits and pieces. So if there's anything on the screen that you need to see and stop, then obviously you can do, but there's all sorts of different pricing for the different bits and pieces. There's other companies that will do it as well. You've got all the different questions answered from this website, but it says a normal ticket costs under 700 per person. So don't forget that it's Filipino pesos, so you've already seen it in pounds, but you have got it in pesos as well. There's a word of warning on there that it says if you were to pick one of the things up from outside the airport building, you will wait until it's full. But the company that we use, they actually picked us up from the centre, then they picked up a couple of other people and it wasn't full, and then they just shot off on time, as it does leave on time. So I'm not 100% sure what that word of warning is all about, so take that with a pinch of salt. But if you pre-book, you do get a confirmation, and the driver does ring you half an hour before the pickup time. And I think we got picked up at like 6 a.m. and got a phone call at 5:30 to actually get out and start to head over to this island. So it was a very late night. We didn't get into the hotel till probably close to 1 o'clock in the morning. We had about 5 hours sleep maximum, and then we sit on here for about 6 hours. But like you can see, I've cut it up for you so you can see just how glorious this drive is. But if you are travel sick and you don't like lots and lots of bends going around mountains, well, this really is not going to be the trip for you. Now, we were extremely lucky because it was so early in the morning and it was full of adults. Everybody was pretty much asleep up until the rest break. So obviously I was just throwing bits and pieces out the window, so I was lucky to be sat where I was. Did read reports and other warnings, and this is the biggest warning: if there's loud people on there, or there's a family on there, or whatever, it could be a very long 5 or 6 hours. So you've got to bear that in mind. We were very lucky, so we managed to soak all of this in. If I don't say a single thing now, that is just how noisy the van is, and there was nobody up. So lucky. So the driver was basically silent, he was good as gold, and he got us straight to the rest stop. You do stop off twice. You have a break right at the halfway mark, and then you have another one about an hour before you get back. So if you get on the way over, or the way back to the airport, shall I say, so doing it the reverse way, if you need to get some supplies after the first hour, then they'll obviously drop you off. Then you get the halfway mark where you can grab some lunch or breakfast or whenever it is you're leaving, and then you just got the other half of the stint, which is again 2.5 to 3 hours. So the rest point is exactly at the halfway mark, and you will see that, and you can see it's just luscious and green. We've done all the mountain bits, and it goes all nice and flat, and then we've got all these bridges, for example, with all the different bits of water. When we get to the rest point, we would have travelled already done 3 hours. So we've got a couple of minutes, I think, and then we will move on into the rest area. It's a big area. It's nothing like what you would expect from the UK with regards to a service station. It is much nicer than that. So you just start guessing exactly what it's like. But if you are thinking of doing this and getting over to this island, there is no train and there's obviously no other airport. So this is, I do believe, there is actually an airport in El Nido, but it is very expensive to fly over there. So there would have been potentially another airport that you could have gone to and not done this long trip, but I think it was cheaper, it was longer, but it was cheaper to land, book the hotel the night before, do this drive obviously up to 6 hours, and I think you saved quite a lot of money because the airport is really, really small in El Nido. So again, if you want to do some research and you want to not do this 5 or 6 hour drive and you would rather just fly there, you do have that opportunity, and then you can just get an e-trike from that airport in to the centre again. You are around some absolutely stunning beaches close to the airport as well in El Nido, because we did pass that. All of that is going to be coming in the Philippines playlist. There's lots and lots of videos already from the Philippines playlist, and there's a lot more to come. There's a lot more adventures from this side. We did a lot of exploring in Boracay, a lot of walking around and just a lot of getting your bearings on the beach and water activities, whereas this now is all sorts of different waterfalls, zip lines and all of that kind of thing, and all of that will be coming in the future uploads, or depending on when you're watching this, they will already be live. Now you do go into certain pockets where you do have a little bit of a built up area, as you can see. Now, so obviously clearly if you were to drive here yourself, you could just simply pull over, grab yourself a snack and a drink from any of these if you wanted to, and then you can just carry on. But I think it's quite obvious, because we stopped at the exact same point both ways with different drivers, they must have a deal with the where they stay, because obviously it is nice and simple, but they also do have a lot of space to park out from the front. So I don't know how busy that place gets, because it was nice and quiet both times, and we are doing this out of season as well, so you can see that it's not perfectly crystal clear skies and all that kind of thing, because it is obviously some clouds in the sky, because it is stormy season. If you're wondering what the beeps are, that is the driver just warning people that they're passing when there's little mopeds and things, so they are always continuously honking at each other, and that is beautiful. So now that is actually the view that we're about to see in literally a second time. So I've managed to do 3 hours in 7.5 minutes, so that is not too bad. So the travel side of the stuff from here is pretty much going to be done. Now we're going to be moving over to what is the rest point. So this is it. This is stunning. Yes, it is basically a tropical garden. You've got loads of cats walking around, so you can give them a cuddle if you want to. You've got all the places that you can sit on the outside if you want to. You can grab yourself some nice hot food, some snacks, some drinks. I think we were here about 20 minutes. There's just enough time to fill your tummies up. This is where obviously everybody is waking up, because everybody was fast asleep for the way through, and then people got a little bit more lively from here onwards. So again, there's a little bit more of an atmosphere in the minibus, but this is all of ours, so we can do whatever we want to do, sit wherever we want to go. I can imagine when it's busy it'll be fantastic, because there's loads and loads of space and you have these views. So as you keep on going, you can get to the tables, and then you can obviously see the ocean. And what I didn't realize the first time is you can actually walk all the way down there, so you will see that added in a second. So there is a way down where you can actually get to the beach. I didn't do it, I just found the path. I should have run down there quickly and taken a photo of it from the other way, but you can see just how beautiful those views are. So again, the transportation, we managed to actually book this the evening before, because we could not get back to where we needed to go to in the Philippines. We actually got stranded in Manila airport, and we booked all of this over lunch, and then we found out after we had actually bought the ticket how long it was going to take, and we did not regret it at all. So you can see you've got all the different snacks there. Obviously that's what I live on, so grabbed a drink, grabbed some chips and crisps, and then I was absolutely living the dream for the rest of the journey. But again, you can just see how big the gardens are. It was just perfect weather. It wasn't too hot either, and they got loads and loads of air conditioning blasting on in the action wagon as well. So it got to the point where it was starting to get that chilly. You did actually need to put a hoodie on and your trousers as well. But nobody overheated, and it was full, by the way. So it was a full thing. That is the walkway down. I don't know why I didn't do it. I should have just ran down there, turned around, taken a photo and come back. But you can see that there is a nice little path basically to a private beach. So it did look very, very smart indeed. And then you can turn back round and you can just walk yourself back up. You can see everybody just getting their bearings after they're filling up the tummy. So everybody that you're seeing walking around is from our little coach. So it's all from our little minibus. I think there was driver, 2 at the front, row of 3, and then it was a 2 and a 1 and a 3. That was the configuration. Every single seat was taken up. Now, we are just about to get in. There was obviously 1 or 2 people at the front just trying to sell you some little knick-knack bits and pieces. They did look very, very nice in all fairness, so if you wanted to get yourself some little gifts, you could have done. Now, we are about to pull away, so obviously we're about to say goodbye to that rest stop, and this is the last of the luscious green. So that is, say, 3 hours of travelling done. Then the countdown starts. So the countdown starts to get to El Nido, and you have everybody that is situated on this wagon right now. If your hotel is before the drop-off point in the centre, the driver will drop you off at your hotel. If not, you then just get dropped off in the centre, which is obviously what we do, and it is super, super easy to get to your hotel. So what we are seeing now is we are on the outskirts of El Nido. We're about to come into the first hotel. Now, the hotel itself was breathtaking because when we got taken around the island in a day or two's time, there is a rooftop swimming pool and you've basically got your own private beach. But this is the only shops and things that you've got. So if you wanted to go down into the big square, which was fantastic, so again, keep your eyes peeled for all that and grab yourself basically unlimited food from any type of restaurant you would want to do, you couldn't really walk down there. Now, I could be wrong. All of these could be glorious restaurants. You can see they've got lots of snacks and different things like that, and there's loads of people just chilling out. But it didn't seem as a good a location as what we stayed in, but this by far was probably one of the nicest hotels that we saw. So as we're coming out, you can see that's called Line. So if you want to check that one out on Google Maps, give it a go. It is massive, as you can tell, and right up on top of the roof, you got like I think you got like an open roof, and then there is a huge swimming pool just off from that as well. And we did manage to see that as we were driving to a different island. So it did look very, very nice. But you can see the signs. There is a couple of other hotels down there. So that is the first person dropped off. Now we're moving on to the next drop off. Now this was also done the other way. So we got picked up from our accommodation. We weren't the first people on there. Then we picked up basically everybody else, because we got, how did it work? So there were some people that got picked up from the airport. Then from the airport, they went straight to our hotel, to another hotel, to another hotel, and left. So that was nice and simple. So if you're getting picked up from the hotel and you give them the time, that's why I don't think there's going to be a problem, because the driver just knows that it's on the way to where you're going and you're fine. Obviously, if the hotel is absolutely miles away, you then might have to get an e-trike back to the actual airport, but we stay close enough to the airport, and I think he did 3 pickups on top of ours, and then had a handful of people from the airport. So we did not find it a problem whatsoever. But again, if you just land, you can get on this straight away. It might be quite a long way of doing that though, because if you have a long flight and then you get picked up straight away and have another 5 or 6 hour drive, that could be a very, very long day for you. But it would save a lot of time as well, as long as you know that you're going to be traveling, because you could get an overnighter, because you saw the last one was 7 o'clock at night, I do believe. So if you got in, if you left at lunchtime and you didn't mind getting there until early hours of the morning, and you didn't want to book the hotel the night before, because we had no choice, because we got in, like I said, about 1 o'clock in the morning and it was all booked last second, you've got plenty of options if you give yourself a little bit of time to plan. Now we're pulling up to the next one, so it doesn't look like there's much there, but there's quite a lot around here, and it's just starting to get busier and busier. And you'll see in a second when we pull up to the main hub as such, there is loads and loads of e-trikes waiting to take you to where you need to go, and the island just gets bigger and bigger. The places to eat just get more and more fancy, and then you have a beach that you can literally walk down the front of, and there's also hotels and accommodations on the beachfront if you wanted to. And obviously we're going to explore all of that in the future uploads as well. This island was incredible just to explore. It was much wider than Boracay, it was a completely different feel, but it was just as nice at the same time. But then you could get yourself an e-trike, and you had 3 different waterfalls you could go on. Both of them were half-an-hour walks each way, so you had a tour guide that took you up to the top. We did 2 of the 3, so keep your eyes peeled for that. There's a beautiful zip line that we did, and that was a really nice adventure going on at that. So that's another video. And then we have some other little bits and pieces that I don't want to spoil too much of what is coming, but we did explore and do some other little bits and pieces and got some really nice views in. And we started to basically climb up a mountain, which was very interesting indeed. Obviously you're in a harness, but that was quite a good bit of fun. So again, we are just coming down, we're getting a little bit closer and a little bit closer. You can see the difference in a second. So we're going to drop off the 3rd person. So from where we are now to the first hotel, I reckon all of that would be in walking distance if you wanted to. But then all of a sudden it gets a lot busier, and I personally think it's a little bit easier just where we stayed. So the next 10 minutes, it's going to change drastically. So as we start coming down basically the hill, what you can't see on the camera is there's a countdown to the centre that actually starts about 15 kilometres out. So you know that you're getting close. It's all luscious, it's all green up to that point, and then it just starts to build up and it gets a little bit more busy and a little bit more busy. And of course, the closer you have your accommodation to the centre, you don't have to worry about doing what we're doing now. So if you wanted to be in the centre and you see what you're about to see in the video, then obviously book your hotel a little bit further down. If you don't mind being this far out and you can just get away from it all later on, then obviously you can do that. But now all of a sudden this is like a really big strip, so you had to still get on an e-trike to get here. You couldn't walk from our hotel to get here, and there is all sorts of food eateries, a couple of different hotels here, and then you see a long line in a second of all of the different types of transportation and the e-trikes that are directly over the road, so just here, from where we stop. And this is also the bit that, if need be, this is where you actually have to get to go back to the airport as well. So it's minutes from any of the hotels, 10 minutes one way, 10 minutes the other. And they do clearly state on their website that you might have to get to here, because there's just so many different hotels dotted around the island. They can't drive to all of them, and for some of them you actually need to be on a e-trike, which is what we're on now, because it is too narrow and tight to get on in one of the little minibuses. And that is what we're about to explore, because we are about to drive over the beachfront, wrap it round, and I'm going to say it again, we're going to wrap it round a graveyard. Then we turn up to our accommodation, which is in perfect walking distance to the front, and it's far enough away where it's really peaceful. So I'll explain more when we do the full hotel tour, because you have got the option of being in the centre right beside the beach, which would be beautiful. But depending on where and what part of the beach you're on, they could be playing, it could be quite lively music being played till quite early hours of the morning. So if you did just want to sit on a balcony, for example, and just relax and unwind, I don't think you'd be able to listen to the waves of the water. Whereas where we stayed, which is added to the end of this video as a quick glimpse of what is to come, the balcony is perfect. It was silent. We only had the people coming to and from work in the morning. We had a couple of different rental places that were just close to us. We were next door to a corner shop, so we could get anything we wanted snack-wise in the evening as we were walking back to the accommodation. And then it was just simple. It was just very simple, very easy, and it was complete fluke. Because like I said, this is one of the only things that was left and what was available. We thought it looked the nicest out of what was available for personal taste, and then just booked it, hoped for the best, and not realising actually just how nice it is. So we are now going to be driving down. This is where we visited. What we're looking at now is almost like a big strip of market. Now you do need an e-trike still to get here. We're not in the centre of El Nido yet. You will see the sign in a couple of minutes time, but from here to basically a little bit further down, so where it says El Nido just there, this is now a big wraparound. So you could drive in a straight line if you wanted to, or you could do what this is. So you could walk to there if you wanted to, but I reckon it's about an hour. Going by Google Maps, it would take about an hour. If you wanted to, fantastic walk though, because you could just walk all the way across the beachfront for probably about half an hour, and then you just cut up through the centre strip, go through the sign that says El Nido, and then you just walk there as in a big L shape. So there's like a foot way of doing it. or you have a driving way of doing it, which is the way that we're about to do now, and we end up in the Times Square. We end up in the city square, which is the town square, shall I say, which has some fantastic eateries, the nicest pizza place I've ever seen in my life. So that will be coming up in a separate upload because it deserves its own video because the food was that good. But everywhere to the left and right hand side now, it's basically water to the left, and there's a couple of different accommodations that you could have seen just wrapping around, so it does look absolutely fantastic. And I am not the one that is filming this, so it's quite interesting to watch all of this back because I didn't realise we filmed all of this, and it was perfect that we did because it is a full under half an hour getting from one airport right into the centre of Palawan. And like I said, just be wary if you do get a bit travel sick. Look into flight options and the airport here. There is a couple of other airports potentially on the island as well, which might make life a little bit easier. So if you have done it a different way, let us know in the comment section so you can help others, because obviously if you're doing this for the first time and you're unsure, then obviously that's one thing. But if you don't mind seeing the beautiful views and just doing what we've done, then obviously do it how we've done. Now, yes, we are now on the beachfront. We are not in the ocean. We are driving across the beach. This is the only way to do it. This is why the buses and the minibuses cannot get to a lot of the hotels on the island, because you have no choice but to get on an e-trike. Now, we just walked this every single day, so this is a beautiful, beautiful walk. A couple of different ways you can do it. You can either just stick to the beach, stick by the water. You can do it what we're about to drive now, and then it splits into another 2 or 3 different ways to get onto the beachfront as well. All of that will be explored along with all of the other activities that's going to be going on. But we have got about 3 minutes left. So if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that would be absolutely fantastic. In the comment section, let us know if you've been here before. Is it on your radar to come here? It is highly, highly recommended. It is outstanding with regards to the activities that you can do. You can just get on an e-trike and you can have a driver with you all day, and they'll just take you to different places that you want to go to. That is such a handy thing to do because they just take you to the better places. They take you to the better waterfalls, for example, and all of that kind of thing. And they do it in the best order where you don't lose a load of time as well. So you basically go the furthest way first, then you just come back on yourself, or vice versa, and it is all nice and simple. So we are still making our way to our hotel, and we literally pull straight up to the door. Off we get. Then I open up the room and then I film up the stairs. I'll show you a sneak peek of the actual room itself, and then there will be a full room tour coming. So that's the beach. Now the actual graveyard, it sounded worse than what it is. It's everything to the left hand side. Super, super nice, super, super peaceful. And then you have got this sort of almost like highway hub of just people getting picked up and dropped off at their hotels. There is a few different types of accommodation down here. You've got resorts, you've got more sort of private rooms, and then you've got hotels as well. So there's a full mix just around here. Now this is by far the quietest bit to be. So obviously you can see people can walk down there. You can do that if you want to. We did that coming to and from, and it was not a problem at all. But if you wanted to basically be by the beach, by the water, there is loads and loads of opportunities to do that. But then you've got to bear in mind just how lively it's going to be. Now don't forget, it looks quiet, because I said this in every upload, this is out of season. So I can imagine just how busy this island is on peak season. So just be careful with your planning, and obviously hotel accommodation, and the more important thing is location. If you want to walk around and explore everywhere, do what we've done so you can get away from the hustle and bustle, or come in a little bit further. If you don't mind having to get on an e-trike every day, do what the guys and girls did at the very, very start when the driver started to drop them all off. And then from there, don't forget though, you are then closer potentially to getting to the waterfalls and things, because you will save yourself, say, 10 or 15 minutes. So swings and roundabouts with regards to what is the better way for you, and obviously it is all down to your own decision and to do whatever it is you want to do. But I would come back to this place in a heartbeat. I would try staying in a different location just to see if it is worth staying in a different location. Does it make that much of a difference? I really don't think it does, to be honest. It's not going to spoil your fun whatsoever. Now there is a huge hotel to the left hand side which looks a little bit grubby All of that has just been knocked down, and apparently that is going to be an Egyptian-themed hotel next year. So by the end of 2025, that apparently is what that is going to be. So you can see all of this now where it looks a little bit worn out. Yeah, I can't wait to see what that's going to be. It's going to be a huge resort, apparently. Now you've got these little stores. There's one shut just there. We didn't notice that on the way in because it was actually closed, but we have pulled up, so we are here. Just like that, nice and simple. And that's why they've got to turn around on the spot and get back. So we are staying here. What a beautiful, it's Cenerity, I think it was called. Beautiful, beautiful accommodation. You've got a nice balcony just there up at the top. So you've got a room just to the right-hand side. You've got one behind the staircase. And then you've got two just up top. Then you've got the little reception area down at the bottom of the stairs to the left-hand side. So you can see there's two doors just here. Each one of these, I do believe, has a balcony, and they just face different ways, obviously. But we were staying in room number 3. Fantastic room. Beautiful, beautiful on the inside. The air conditioning kept it really nice and cool. Had everything that you wanted. But this was used a huge amount because it was just so peaceful. But I'll explain more in future uploads. But guys, that is it, and I am done. So if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you next one. Ta-da.